I call to order the December 13th, 2022 South Rambler Water and Sewer Authority monthly board meeting. I'd like to welcome everyone here. Thank you for coming. And we appreciate you being here tonight. With that, let's move on to our roll call. And from our board secretary,
All right.
soon to be secretary.
Thank
Which
you,
one which one's going to do it?
I'm still the secretary up
Okay.
until a couple items here, so I will perform the roll call. So,
All right.
Mr. McKellar is absent this evening. He notified us previously. Commissioner Way.
Present.
Commissioner McLam.
Present.
Commissioner Carey. Present. Councilperson Jordan.
Present.
Commissioner Kaczynski.
Present.
And Commissioner Gooch.
Present. And now, if you will, please join Commissioner Karen in our invocation.
Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, as we conduct our business of South Granville Water and Sewer Authority, pray that you'll guide the board's heart and mind and that our actions are pleasing in your sight. And as we enter this season of giving, let us remember the true season of Christmas and the birth of your Son. Let us be kind to our fellow citizens and all those that we encounter. Let us be gracious, caring. And Father, for those who are away, especially those deployed from their families, be with them, comfort them, that only you can. For the sick and indigent in our community, be with them and comfort them as well. Father, all these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
If you will, please, everyone stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And our next item on our agenda is swearing in of board members. And we have three.
We're gonna be swearing tonight?
Yes. Yes, we have, is this, Robert Way, Linda Jordan, and myself.
Mhm.
Are you ready?
Do it down front or up here? Yeah, down front, please. Up front.
It's always say that they gotta swear you in, and you be sworn out.
One or the other.
We'll do it individually, we'll do all three at one time, I'll have to do it either way. How do y'all want to do it?
Anyway,
Swear
Well, yeah, what's your preference? Y'all want to do it individually or all at once?
all at once.
All at once sounds good to me, sir. Okay. I'll put the Bible in here then.
Yes.
Y'all all place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right. And repeat after me. I
I, Jimmy Gooch,
Linda Jordan.
do solemnly and sincerely swear that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States.
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina,
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established for the government thereof.
which are and may be established for the government thereof.
That I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend
That I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend
the Constitution and laws of said state,
the Constitution and laws of such state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
as a Saguasa board member, so help me God.
as a Saguasa board member, so help me God.
Amen.
This way.
No more swearing.
No more swearing.
All right, and our next order of business is to appoint a new board secretary. And in 2021, following the resignation of previously appointed board secretary, the Saguasa Board of Directors appointed Scott Schroyer, Executive Director, as board secretary. In fiscal year 22-23, approved budget, the public information officer duties were expanded to include the job duties of board secretary. During the first quarter of fiscal year 22-23, Crystal Lee was hired as Saguasa's public information officer. Crystal has been training under the current board secretary for several months, and Crystal is now ready to take over the duties of the board secretary should the board of directors desire such. And requested board action, the board we requested to elect Crystal Lee as the board secretary to fill the current term that expires at the annual meeting in February 2023. At the annual meeting, the board of directors will elect the board officers, including the chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. And this is backed up by articles of officers by Saguasa bylaws. And do I hear a motion to nominate?
I make a motion to nominate Crystal Lee as board secretary.
Second.
And we have a second in two places. We have Mr. McLeod, Ms. Jordan, both chimed in. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any questions? If there's no discussion, then we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Ms. Crystal, you are now our board secretary. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now, just.
Sit back and put a seat on the desk.
It's nice to be back. Thank you.
Nice to have one less duty, right? Now, adjustments and approval of the meeting agenda. We have a couple of things here. We need to delete item 16. And we need to add item 17A, which is engineering update presentation. And is there any other adjustments to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, if I might, just to make it a little bit easier to keep things in line, if we delete item 16 and just add the engineering presentation in its place, we can keep our order. If I might suggest that,
Yes,
if the board would consider that.
yes. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by McLeod, second by Jordan. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Review and approval of minutes from the November 8th, 2022 meeting. Trust we've all had a chance to read these and go over them. Is there any comments on the meeting, on the minutes in November?
Well, Mr. Chair, I make the motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion by Mr. Wade to approve the minutes. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Jordan. Any discussion? Let's call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Now we're down to our next item is public comments. Did anyone sign up for public comments?
Mr. Chair, we've not received any comments this evening.
Okay, have not received any. Okay, thank you. Then item 10, board discussion items. Page 23, I believe we had one. Get to the page here, a little slow, fumbling around. Vice Chair Kaczynski, you want to discuss the fire hydrant maintenance agreements?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had asked, does Seguasa have a fire hydrant maintenance agreement between Seguasa and its member fire departments? Because the question came to me from a fire chief that they were concerned that since they are flow testing our hydrants, if there's any damage to the hydrant, the liability factor was their concern. And I called the executive director and he agreed that we should possibly do this. So I would like to suggest that Seguasa in working with the attorney, draft MOUs between Seguasa and its member fire departments, unless we have them already. But we should have them to make sure that the liability factor is not unknown.
I will look, I thought we had them at an earlier date, but if they can't be located, that doesn't do much good.
I know there was
Yeah.
some discussion that the city contract with the Creedmoor Volunteer Fire Department had a clause in it about Seguasa, which Seguasa was never notified about, putting them on the hook for something, but it's been taken out of our contract. So it's just since our department is volunteer, we want to make sure that the liability is in the right place. So I would ask that we clear those blurred lines with all the member fire departments if we can.
Yeah, and Commissioner, if you're finished, I would just like to make a comment, if I may. So we had a good discussion about this recently. And as the board's aware and has requested that we kind of step up our maintenance activities for fire hydrant maintenance, painting, flowing, those type of operations, as well as the valves associated with that. And the last couple of years, we've worked very well with the local fire departments on their ISO studies and providing them with a lot of information that we need. And we appreciate the fire departments going out and doing some of the flushing for us and identifying maintenance needs, which they then send to us. So in our conversation, I could not find an MOU between Seguasa and the local departments. And I think that it would really truly benefit us to have that, so we have an understanding. We're not looking to shirk any of our responsibility, just make sure that we have this coordination and understanding that's out there. I was basically proposing that we start drafting an MOU, and I'll work with the attorney on that form. And then I would suggest that I meet with the individual departments to kind of work out the particulars, and then I can bring that information back to the board as necessary for establishing those MOUs. If it's required at a board level, I'm not sure at this point. With everything that we're doing, I anticipate that's something that I can start working on within the next 45 days. I've already started some research on it to get some ideas of some MOU. So if the board's okay with that kind of schedule, with our budget season coming up as well, I'd like to just kind of work towards that and keep the board informed of that topic. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I have a question for our attorney. Mr. Wright, is there possibly a way that we could get the county judges or district attorney with community service? What I don't want to say, community service, get them to come and clean around the fire hydrants and stuff like that, or is it too dangerous, or can we look into it?
I have experience with both things. I worked for the community service program one summer, and I also cleaned fire hydrants one summer for the Oxford Fire Department. And I would say that
There we go.
finding a motivated person to clean fire hydrants may be less trouble than getting someone who's doing it as community service, and also maybe less liability. But if that's something the board wants to do, we can certainly look into it. I just I've never seen that labor be cost effective personally, but that's
Okay.
just my opinion.
Okay,
Clean them and paint
is
them.
there
Nice.
any other board discussion items? Okay, well, we'll move on to item 11, and that's utility truck purchase. And the Seguasa Utilities Department, wastewater collections and water distribution currently maintains a fleet of 15 trucks used by management, field crews, pump mechanics, and meter readers. Seguasa trucks typically remain in operation for 100,000 plus miles and a minimum of 8 years, or until they begin requiring significant repair costs beyond the value of the vehicle. Of the 3 trucks that Seguasa staff is requesting replaced with new vehicles, 2 are light-duty trucks used for meter reading and other utility work. The vehicles are 2013 and 2014 models with 155,000 and 137,000 miles respectively. And the third truck staff is requesting to replace a medium-duty truck that was destroyed by fire last year. Staff is recommending replacing the existing vehicle types with similar vehicle types, light duty and medium duty. The Sequasa purchased vehicles from dealerships that provide North Carolina state contract prices. Sequasa staff contacted multiple dealerships to inquire about current inventory and delivery times. It was found that Performance Automotive in Clinton currently has multiple light duty trucks available for purchase and delivery by the end of 22. In addition, Piedmont Truck in Greensboro can provide a medium duty truck by the end of 2022. And the recommendation is, Sequasa staff recommends the board approve the purchase of 2 new untitled Ford Maverick trucks and 1 new untitled F-250 truck for use by the collections and distribution staff. All new trucks will be white to match the existing fleet color. Sequasa staff will upfit the trucks to include emergency lights, emblems, GPS, etc. And has the board, is there any questions about this? Anybody have any questions? I have one. I know. I'm sorry.
You make my job a lot easier.
Oh, I took it away from you. Sorry about that, Mark.
You are good.
But in fact, I was so busy reading, I didn't look up to see you. Okay, I'm on a roll, so, you know. One question for you, Mark. How in the world y'all find two Ford Mavericks?
So we called around to about every dealership that we knew of that did state contracts. We've never bought Mavericks in the past.
Yeah.
Rangers are what, we looked at for our meter readers. Cannot find a truck. If we had to order one, we'd be looking at a year roughly to get one made and delivered. So one provider, Performance Automotive, they had ordered multiple of these Maverick trucks, and we looked at them. The specs met what our meter readers would need, so we went ahead and decided to jump on that, and it fit within the budget. And then same thing, we called around and we found where they ordered a few of these F-250s, and we jumped on that from a different car dealership. So a lot of work went in to find these, but it's very, very difficult to find a truck right now.
Yes, it is. And for those of you who are not familiar, these little Ford Maverick trucks are one of the hottest items on the market, and they are rated at 40, they're hybrids, and they're rated at 41 city. 41 miles per gallon city. So that's a very fuel efficient addition to our fleet. And I hope to commend you for finding them. Is there any questions?
The only other question I got, do we anticipate needing another replacement truck next year?
Yes, we do.
How many trucks are we looking at for next year? Do you know?
I know of one, maybe 2. I'm actually meeting with our superintendent tomorrow
Okay.
to work on budget items for next year. I do know that there's one truck, and I think he's mentioned a second, but I'll know more tomorrow.
I just know they're so hard to find. I mean, our police department's been waiting on vehicles for a year. They're so hard to find. And if you said they actually have some trucks in stock, it might be something to come back to the board to see if we can figure out a way to go ahead and have them put it to the side for, so we can go ahead and make a purchase maybe after the first of the year.
Well, the budget, the current fiscal year budget, the money was allocated to cover the purchase for these 2 Mavericks, and then the insurance money from the truck that was burned up.
Right.
That insurance money covers. So no, I mean, we do have a budget amendment coming up later to transfer the insurance money from fund balance over to the correct account to pay for this. But unless there was a separate budget amendment, we do not have the money to buy additional trucks, but
Right.
I understand what you're saying. And these are not in stock now. They've been ordered. They're scheduled for delivery very soon, but that's the quickest we can.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, exactly.
Don't
Get
get
'em
them
now,
now,
you
you
need to get 'em.
that the city of Creedmoor ordered a bunch of 2022 trucks last year from Ford. And a month before we were supposed to get them delivered, Ford canceled the order and said, we're not making them anymore. You have to go with 23s. And that was in May,
Mhm.
and we might get them this May. So I understand what Commissioner Way is saying, and you know, if there's an opportunity for us to get them, let's get them. But you're saying we're gonna order them, so we don't know when they'll come
Well,
in.
no, these, we've claimed the ones that are already ordered, that are scheduled for delivery.
Okay,
We're not ordered, we actually have one we ordered back in January that is still not here. But, so these are ones that the dealerships have ordered, they're scheduled for delivery, and we have claimed them.
okay.
Yeah, just a point of clarification, if I may, for the board. So we haven't purchased anything because we won't purchase without board authorization. That's what we're seeking this evening. But we
Right.
told the dealers we would rush this through and see if we can get in line to put our claim on that. So I just want to be clear on that.
Right.
That's why we're asking for this evening. So, and if we.
So
get
it
the
has
board's-
your name or Mark's name on
Richard's name.
Usually it's the finance director that decides that,
Backed up over you.
but I just want to be clear on that.
Well, I mean, I couldn't see Richard's face when I was talking about spending more money, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, any further discussion? Then we'll call for motion.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion by McLean, second by Jordan. Any discussion on the motion? Then we're good to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item number 12, and I'm gonna back off and let you handle this, Mark.
You can have it if you'd like. So item number 12 is the water treatment plant fire alarm upgrade. So during the upgrade project for the water treatment plant that was completed earlier this year, the fire marshal had to make sure all the new construction was up to fire code, but they went ahead and did an inspection on the existing plant. So as you can imagine, they discovered that it did not meet current fire code, and the inspections department is requiring us to upgrade the existing building to meet that code.
Mhm.
So you can see there's 4 bullet points here that are required by the fire department or fire marshal and the inspections department to bring this up to code. The main thing on here is a alarm control panel with pulls, and it's got to be monitored by service 24/7. So Seguasa issued a request for proposals and received quotes to bring up or proposals to bring the fire or the water treatment plant up to fire code. We received 3 proposals, and I'll explain these a little bit. There's a giant difference between these, but I'll kind of run through these. So the first one that you see here, Fire and Line Safety America, their price was about $31,000. That was for design only. That was going to provide the engineered drawings. That was no installation of equipment. The second proposal was from Johnson Controls at almost $164,000. And that was for the design, the engineered drawings, all the permits, and for the equipment. And the last that you see here, Pi Barker Fire and Safety, theirs was for about $36,000, and that included the design drawings, permits, and equipment. So Johnson Controls and Pi Barker were submitting on the same thing, and you can see the difference in cost. So I did reach out to the fire department, fire marshal, and said, can you review this quote, make sure this is actually going to bring up the code. They talked to the contractor. That $36,000 quote it will provide what we need. Really do not understand why that Johnson Controls quote is such a
Yeah,
high,
60.
such an outlier. That's huge. And then
They didn't want to do it.
even though FLSA was lower, it didn't include equipment costs, so we did not go with them, because by the time we add equipment, they would be higher than that Pi Barker price. So we decided to proceed with the Pi Barker Fire and Safety proposal. Financially, we're seeking authority to spend $37,467, which includes a base price of $34,061.31 plus a 10% contingency. That is their quote minus the tax. That $36,000, take the tax out, that's where we get the base price plus the 10%. So finally, the executive director's recommendation is that the Seguasa Board of Directors approve the design and installation of the required water treatment plant fire alarm system upgrades as proposed by Pop Barker Fire Safety LLC for $34,069.31 and a 10% contingency, $3,406.13 for a total of $37,467.44 excluding sales tax.
Any questions in the comments? We'll call for
What's
the
the-
vote. Oh, you got a question? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So this has been done already?
Oh, no, no.
Because you just said we decided and we went with the
Well,
pipe
that's who we're
barger,
choosing.
and I'm
We want
going,
to proceed
wait
with.
a
I'm
minute.
sorry.
well, I happen to know people who work for Pipe Barker, and it's a very good company, and I promise them that if this is what they're saying they'll give us, they will. Very good. Go ahead, Lynn.
My question was just to clarify, what was the time frame for completion?
So we would reach out to Pop Barker this week after approval tonight, sign the contracts, sign the proposal, give them notice to proceed. And just as soon as they can get here, I know the fire marshal wants us to proceed with this quickly. So we would turn this around as quickly as possible.
Okay, good, thank you.
So when the fire marshal inspected after the changes were made, he just inspected the changes? And then had to come back and do the old building?
I know they came multiple times to inspect the new construction.
Right.
You know, we added a lot more buildings out there and they
Okay.
inspected all that. And then I guess somewhere around the end of the project, they came back for a final. And they walked through the
I
existing
just
building.
I think the county could save some money from him going up and down the highway 100 times. He could have just done it all in one shot. I'm done.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments? Then we'll call for the motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by McLean,
Second.
second by Way. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Next item.
All right, item number 13 is the final allocation request for the North Carolina Cricket Center. So this is a new development set of plans that was recently submitted to us. This is NC Cricket Center located between East D Street and West Lion Station Road, just north of East C Street in Butner. The facility will consist of 2 buildings and 3 cricket fields and associated parking. The facility requires installation of a 2-inch water service and a 6-inch sewer service with an estimated usage of 6,250 gallons per day. And a final allocation request has been submitted. After review of the plans, everything looks good with just minor changes. Recommendation is that Sequoia staff recommends approval of the allocation request of 6,250 gallons per day of water sewer service for the proposed NC Cricket Center. Financially, the developer will be required to pay system development fees based on the current fee schedule. You can see in this table here, the water and sewer system development fees associated with a 2-inch commercial water meter, and those total about $44,000. Attachments include the allocation request and the utility plan submitted by the consultant C3 Design. And for the strategic plan alignment, you can see here is focus area number 1 for safe, reliable, and sustainable water system. And then finally, the executive director's recommendation is that the Sequoia Board of Directors approve the final allocation of 6,250 gallons per day of water and sewer for NC Cricket Center development located off East D Street in Butler. With that, I'll take any questions.
Anybody got any questions for Mark on this? It's working its way through the town of Butler.
Yeah.
I was wondering what they're gonna do with all the crickets.
All right. If there's no further questions for Mark, we call for motion.
I make a motion that we approve the final allocation
A
of
motion,
6,250 gallons per day of water and sewer North Carolina Cricket Center development.
motion by Vice Sheriff Kaczynski. Here's second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Jordan. Any questions on the motion? Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, likewise, ayes have it, motion passes. So we cleared this hurdle. for the Cricket Center. And then, item 14.
Mr. Gooch, I'd like to do an intro as Crystal's getting ready for her presentation, if I may.
Okay.
So this project is about our Welcome Center upgrade project, and I'm very excited about this project and getting this accomplished. And Crystal's been a major driver in this project for us. Crystal started working for Seguasa late summer of this year. It was interesting during the interview process. I asked Crystal about her initial thoughts about our bill pay lobby, since she was sitting in there waiting for it to be called next for the interview. And Crystal said politely during the interview, and I thought this was great, that there are some great things we could do with that space to make it more customer friendly.
Yes.
So I said, you're right. I agreed with her and told her that I look forward to hearing more about that project if she's a successful candidate in the future. And of course she was. We hired her and she hit the ground running early, right after she came on board, probably about within the first 30 days, to come up with some great ideas. And so it's been a pleasure working with Crystal for the last 90 days, I think, right? Since you've been here, August? 112.
Don't answer that.
112 days. Okay, so that's good. As long as she's counting up, not counting down. That's good. So Crystal's here tonight to present to the board a video presentation about the proposed improvements to what we're calling the Welcome Center now. We're not calling it the bill pay lobby, but we're coining it as the Welcome Center, which I think is a great approach. So she's going to run the presentation for us. It's about 5 minutes long,
Okay.
and then she'll be happy to come to the podium and address any questions the board has. So lastly, Crystal, before you hit go, I just want the board members to know that she did this entire video production as well. So she has a lot of talents for it. So Crystal, you're in the spotlight. Take it away.
South Granville Water and Sewer Authority is committed to providing transparent communication and messaging systems for the public. The following projects have been completed since joining the team on August 23rd of 2022. Fillable forms were created to enhance the customer and staff documentation experience. New stationery has been designed to match Seguasa's rebranded theme. The new business card template has been updated. Seguasa has a new Facebook, Google, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube account created to communicate timely updates and connect with our utility customers. Presentation templates are available for staff use, making it easy to maintain on-brand messaging standards. Presentation information, graphics, and relevant visual data are now being edited into each general board meeting. The domain and hosting tools have been secured for Seguasa's new internal website, which is currently under development. 3 organizational events have been planned to maintain positive team morale throughout Seguasa. Retirement planning templates and celebration procedures have been created to recognize employees approaching retirement. Seguasa partnered with national organizations to educate staff and the community on safety procedures. At the heart of Seguasa's succession plan is the Budding Internship Program. With a third of the slated projects completed, the following are on Seguasa's radar for completion over the next 3 to 8 months. Website revision, intern program launch, Wayfinder sign creation, outdoor LED signage, payment Dropbox upgrade, meeting capture upgrade, training workshops, policy and procedure manual development, digital employee handbook creation, plant process explainer videos, community connection events, and the Welcome Center upgrade. This project will strengthen the Seguasa brand by adding modern communication tools and providing partnership opportunities. We plan to partner with local vendors and Seguasa's engineering team to complete all necessary installs and upgrades. Local vendors submitted quotes for design and installation of a 10-foot branded sign, a 5-foot branded sign, 2 vinyl wall clings, various window decals, and a display monitor, resulting in a project total of $6,560. The main display wall in our Welcome Center would house a 10-foot branded sign installed by the vendor with steel bits for added support. This sign was best quoted at $3,602, including installation and fees. A 5-foot acrylic sign bearing the Seguasa logo is planned to be installed on the employee hallway for a supply and installation fee of $1,266.63. Our goal is to provide quality customer service for each customer. Saguasa will highlight this messaging with vinyl wall clings over the customer service windows, as well as the wall leading to the employee office area, creating a welcoming environment for both staff and customers. Currently, our team utilizes paper communication on the window and walls within the Welcome Center. We would like to create a messaging system that utilizes window decals and digital monitors to display relevant news and updates. We took the time to conduct a SWOT analysis for the Welcome Center upgrade project. The benefits outweigh any challenges that the installation process will potentially present. The upgrade will open up opportunities for partnerships with local businesses via affiliated marketing, creating space to house customer welcome kits, advertised information on the digital monitor, as well as literature to maintain information transparency. Scheduling the installations to occur during earlier phases of the day would lessen the threat to Saguasa's flow of business. With our current plan in motion, we hope to finalize the install process by January 20th of 2023, permitting the board's approval. This initial project is a vital part of the communication upgrade plan for Saguasa. Thank you for your time.
Recognize that voice in the
I
background?
did.
Yeah.
I want to know when the training class is, because I want to learn how to do this.
I know, right? Sign us up.
Yeah, you wanna put down the
That was really good.
on that, and then we'll have Crystal come to the podium and answer any questions that the board may have. And just want to let you know, I've been working with Crystal on this project as well, and I thought it was a great opportunity for her to demonstrate what she's done since she's come on board for us in the short 112 days, if you will. And we have a lot of things planned for next year as well. We'll keep the board apprised of that. So hope you greatly appreciate that. And she's here to answer any questions that you might have.
People are gonna stop mailing in their payments once you make all these nice changes. They're gonna wanna come here.
Yeah.
And we'll be welcoming to them and create a nice customer experience.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions?
No questions. It was a fabulous presentation. I think will be much more welcoming and not seeing the Post-it notes and stickies and things of that nature, much more professional, which will be much more inviting. So just I wanted to say thank you for taking the time to present that to us this evening.
Absolutely welcome. Thank you.
And I want to sign up for the training.
Maybe we need to rephrase that.
We lease that space, right?
Comments or compliments?
Yeah.
Great presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Thank you so much.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stepping up our game.
Okay. So we don't need to take action on this.
No, it was just a presentation this evening. I wanted the board to be aware of that. We have item 15 coming up next is in terms of the budget amendment, which supports this project as well amongst other projects that we have ongoing with Saguasa.
Okay, thank you. And Crystal, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Moving on down our agenda here, fiscal year 22-23 budget amendment number 8, various. And here comes Richard.
Yeah.
How are you tonight?
Tell you how much money they're gonna spend, I gotta figure out where it comes from. So this is budget number 8, fiscal year 22-23. It basically reallocates budgets for enhancements and improvements to the administrative welcome center that you just saw, holiday decorations, and some additional recording equipment for the board meetings. It reallocates the budget, as Mark mentioned in his presentation earlier, for the replacement of 2 meter reader trucks. It just moves that budget around to the appropriate line items. And then it appropriates from fund balance insurance proceeds from last year to replace the truck that was destroyed by fire during the 21-22 fiscal year. It appropriates the additional budget needed for repairs of the water treatment plant, as Mark presented in his fire safety systems. So all of the things that have been previously presented are in this, rolled into this budget amendment. You can see the previous budget amendments 1 through 7 that board has approved are 1,980,718. This budget amendment is appropriating fund balance of 84,170. And it's distributed by increasing the administrative department by 6,560, decreasing the engineering department by 2,345, increasing the water treatment plant 37,470, increasing utilities for meter reading 29,000, increasing utilities and water line maintenance for 17,700, increasing the depreciation board and other department by 2,345, and decreasing the project and studies department by 6,560 for a total of $84,170, $84,170. The recommendation of the executive director is the board approve budget amendment number 8 as presented.
Any questions for Richard? Comments or compliments?
I think the price for the project for the Welcome Center is amazing. The cost is very reasonable.
Yeah.
Then we'll call for motion.
Approve budget amendment number 8.
We have a motion to approve
Second.
by Kuczynski and a second by Jordan. Is there any discussions on the vote, on the motion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And now we're deleting 16 and we're replacing it with the engineered update.
I feel pretty bad that you have to look at my presentation after.
Don't worry,
And
sir.
you need to sign up for. her
We'll sign up for,
class.
you can sign up with us to go to the class too.
I can't make a pretty presentation, so I apologize.
Get a little closer to the microphone for us, please. Thank you.
All right, so next up is the utility project update. I've got 4 to give brief updates for tonight. One is the I-85 sewer project. We've got the lead copper rule revision compliance project, the PFAS investigation. And then finally, the Hillsborough Road, Creekmore sanitary sewer smoke testing project, one that Commissioner Karen asked about a few months ago. So first on the list is the I-85 sanitary sewer project. This is just the overall scope of the project. I'm not going to go into detail on this. We've talked about this many times. We'll go to the next slide, please. So over the past 30 days, here's a brief summary of what we have accomplished. So the USDA funding application, the environmental report and engineering report are all in progress. We attended an EPA seminar on the Build America, Buy America federal requirements that are going to be required due to the USDA funding. So we're trying to really dig into that, see how it's going to impact our project. Seguasa and CDM Smith, our consultant, performed on-site investigations of the majority of the proposed routes. And we've really been determining any necessary route adjustments based on conflicts. So really trying to nail down where we're going to install all these pipes. Survey has been received for the Northern Interceptor route. That's the gravity line that runs through the northern part of the town of Butner, and design of that has started. That's the gravity sewer line, not the force main. That's the gravity sewer portion. And then the stream, wetland, and endangered species evaluation and delineation fieldwork has been in progress for all areas. And then the subsurface utility engineering is still in progress. Next slide, please. So over the next 30 days, we should have a report providing final flow projections and hydraulic model results. We've gone over results for that based on the revisions that town of Butner and Creedmoor had for their zoning, but should have the final report for that soon. Complete the preliminary engineering report per the USDA standards that is required for the loan application. We should have the completed survey for the Southern Interceptor gravity line within the next month, and we should, with that, we'll be able to begin the design of that portion of the gravity system, and then continue the survey work for the lift stations and force mains. So this is the same schedule that we've seen in the past. The yellow line just shows the end of this year, with one of the first milestones in front of us, looking at the end of May, early June, being the 30% design drawings. Right now, we're still on schedule to get that. Hopefully we can knock a little time off and get there a little sooner, but that's where we are now. So with that, I'll take any questions on the I-85 project. All right.
Ken, anything? No questions.
Okay, next up is the lead and copper rule revision compliance project. So as we've talked about in the past, the EPA has a new law that's gone into effect. There are 8 items that are shown on the next slide that we have to complete. Go to the next slide, please. I won't read all of these, but one of the main items here is just that number 2, the lead service line inventory. So that's a large part of the project. Next slide, please. So schedule wise, Seguasa selected Hazen and Sawyer in November after an RFQ process to manage the project for us. The consultant has submitted a draft project scope to us. They sent that to us in the first week of December. So I've actually reviewed that and scheduled to meet with them this week to refine that, resolve any of my comments that I had. And we're looking to present the final scope and fee at the January board meeting to get started on that lead and copper project. So are there any questions about that project?
Go back to 2 screens if you can. What does this say? Unknown materials are classified as lead service lines unless evidence proves otherwise. So if we have cement, they're going to be ruled as lead?
So if we don't know what the line is, then we have to assume it's lead. But that part of our project is to investigate. We're going to look at as-built drawings, any drawings we have for what's in the field. That should help determine what's there. Records of line breaks when our crews have gone out and had to make water line repairs. We keep records of what we find if something's lead. We haven't found any lead, but we try to keep a record of materials that we find. A portion of the project will be actual field investigation. So the consultant will go out in the field, they'll pothole service lines and determine what the material is. One thing that you can do is if you have a subdivision of 100 houses, you go in and pothole 2 or 3, you can typically assume that all the service lines in a single subdivision, if it's built around the same time, is the same material. So we go out, pothole 2 or 3, then we assume that all 100 of those houses have the same material. So, but.
And I know we talked about before that a lot of the drawings and information on the Creedmoor water system are incomplete that you guys have. How are we going to handle that besides physically going out and checking?
It'll be a combination. I'm currently going through all the plans that we have, not just from Creedmoor, but from Granville County, Stanton, and Butner, and trying to create a database and catalog all the plan sets that we have. It's a large task, but I do know that there are some holes in the data we have out there across the board. I know there's some holes in Creedmoor. We checked with staff at the city of Creedmoor, and I know they provided us with everything they had, but I just know that we don't have plans for every water line in the system. So part of it is going to be determining from the plans that we have, which ones we actually need to go put eyes on in the field.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we'll move to the PFAS investigation and management project. So schedule wise, Seguasa is working with a consultant firm that's Hazen, and they've got experience on PFAS management. Hazen has completed the final PFAS sampling plan, and I presented that to you at the last board meeting. Seguasa and Hazen are working now to issue a request for proposals to perform sampling and testing. Our schedule for the sampling plan is to begin that sampling in January. So we're trying to get that RFP out very soon, as in the next week or so, if we can. So, and the PFAS testing is going to begin in January, February of next year. So this is just an image from the presentation from last month showing the different PFAS sampling locations that we've identified in our raw water source from Lake Butner. Dots of those locations. Next slide, please. This is a summary of the proposed sampling over the next year, showing all the grab samples that we're planning to collect first in January and February, and then focused testing if we do not get adequate results from the grab samples. So finally, we've mentioned that the Division of Water Resources began testing. They came and took samples in September for PFAS. I know that our director has some information on that he wanted to share, so I'll pass it to him now.
Well, thank you, Mark. Board, the second bullet item on that screen talks about receiving some test results within the next several weeks. And I had the opportunity this week to talk with Sean Geyer. He's the regional engineering supervisor for the public water supply section for the Division of Water Resources for the Department of Environmental Quality. He gave me an update on where they stand with their samples that they collected from us in September, October, and November. Of course, we're anxious to see what those values are. And his update was that the September samples have been analyzed and completed. The October samples have been analyzed and they're going through quality assurance, quality control. And the November samples are being analyzed at this time. So 3 months worth of samples. He said all sample results will be provided to Saguasa in one complete report after the first of the year, potentially January, maybe into early February. So that's the information that I have at this time, but they're putting everything together in one comprehensive report. That's the approach that they've taken with the NC Collaboratory on the collection of all these test results. So as soon as they are available in the draft report, that will be sent to me. I'll have an opportunity to look at that, and then everything will be made public after that. So I just want the board to appreciate that we're not getting test results as they're finished month by month. It'll be in one complete report based on their study. So that's the information I have that I just wanted to add to this screen so that we can update that in the future.
So the October samples are going through quality control, quality assurance.
That's correct.
Yeah. That's that from what I understand, that's a pretty big issue with testing. You have to be careful what kind of gloves you wear, what kind of material, what kind of clothing you wear, what kind of equipment you use to collect the sample. It's pretty tedious work, and it's be interesting to see how many RFQs you get back. Because are there any, do you know of any independent labs that are conducting these tests? Or
Several labs are. Hazen, the consultant that we're working with, they know of several that are doing testing. Of course, one of the things that we need is a testing company that has access to a boat and is willing to go out on water to collect samples, and we know of some to do that.
yeah, and the other part is finding a lab that has equipment to test in parts per trillion. That's tricky. I was in a lab today dropping off a bacteria sample, and I asked them about it, and it's a lab in Cary, and they said, no, we can't do that here.
No lab can.
So that wasn't a lab sample for Saguasa. That was
No,
completely
that
separate.
was for a church that
Yeah,
I
just want to
helped
make
them
that
look
clear.
after their
Right.
water system.
Right.
Well, to my knowledge, the technology does not exist to measure down to the 0.002 part per trillion limit that they have in that advisory. So
Yeah, just for the record, that was a well sample from another county.
Scott, did they say why they won't give us the results from September? Why did they want to do this all at once
No, they did
when
not.
our citizens are demanding the results?
No, that's the best information I could get from them. That's the most relative this week on that situation. So I said, just keep me informed. I won't pester you every week. I'll contact you every other week. So that was
So
fine.
they'll give us the results sometime after the first of the year. is that
That's
what you said?
Yeah, we just have to be patient till then.
We can always be patient.
all right, the last project update is the Hillsborough Road sanitary sewer smoke testing project. And as I mentioned, this is one that Commissioner Karen brought up a few months ago. There have been some complaints about odor along Hillsborough Road, and we've investigated that somewhat, and we feel that the best thing to do at this point is to perform smoke testing. What that is, you put smoke down into the manhole, into the sewer line. And then if there are cracks, if there are areas where anything is seeping out of that, smoke will come out of those cracks up through the ground, and you can pretty easily identify if you have issues in the line where odor could be coming from. So project schedule, smoke testing is scheduled to be performed this spring, and that would be weather dependent. We are working with our on-call engineer on that, who is McGill Associates. They have given us a contract for an hourly not to exceed amount of $11,700 to perform this testing. I doubt we'll need all of that, but that is kind of a worst case scenario. That's why we're doing it hourly. We are going to coordinate with the local fire department and make sure they're aware of the dates, since there'll be smoke in the area. We don't want to scare anybody. And the same thing, we'll notify residents and businesses in the area about the scheduled smoke testing, so they'll know what to expect and when to expect it. So with that, I'll take any questions on that or any of the other projects.
Why do we have to wait till the spring?
Well, we want to make sure we have time to get the public notification out there. I mean, we may be quicker than that, but we want to make sure we get everything out to the public.
Okay, I just thought it had something to do with the temperature and the smoke wouldn't float.
Commissioner, Mark wanted to move on this a little bit quicker, right after the first of the year, and I was not satisfied with our communications program, knowing how important that is. So I asked him to just kind of slow that down a little bit so he and Crystal could get together here and put the communication program out, educate our citizens why this is important, and also get some ground signs available. So when we actually do the smoke testing, residents and businesses can see that. So we just need a little bit more coordination before we jump on this.
Okay.
So
He's got to go to his presentation class.
I can't compare to that. There you go.
Give it to her, she'll do it for you, for a nominal fee.
Look, I'll handle the smoke test. Crystal can handle the presentation.
Yeah.
all right. Thank you.
And
You still have me for one more.
Yep. Sure
we
do.
got one more item.
Oh,
Item 17, emergency wastewater hauling program, award of contracts.
So the current fiscal year budget includes $120,000 for emergency wastewater hauling services. And what that is, we have pump trucks that whenever we have large rain events, we have inflow that gets into the sewer system and causes the lift stations to fill up with rainwater. And we have to get out and pump those to prevent sanitary sewer overflows. So like I said, we've got $120,000 in the budget now. And looking at our yearly average, we're looking at about 25 times per year and about 4 hours per call that we're having to use those services. We have had a contract with Current Septic Service, who has been handling all that for us over the past few years. But it has been several years since we issued an RFP and received quotes for that. So we decided this was a good time to do that. In October this year, we issued a request for proposals for those emergency pump and haul services. So ultimately, we received submittals from two service providers. One was Current Septic Service, the other was Vision NC. Both of these companies are companies that we've worked with a lot in the past and have done outstanding work for us. We also put in the RFP that we may select multiple vendors instead of just having one to call, we can call multiple. So because of the history we've had with both of these vendors, we did not receive 3 formal bids, but because of that history with them, we decided that we wanted to select both of these vendors to serve us over the coming few years on hauling service. So what we have, Exhibit A includes a bid tabulation for the emergency hauling services, and you can see there that the unit prices that they provided are similar and very competitive. Ultimately, Executive Director's recommendation is that the Seguasa Board of Directors approve unit price contracts with Current Septic Service and Vision NC for emergency wastewater hauling services based on their November 16th, 2022 proposals shown in Exhibit A. This will be effective January 1st of 23 through December 31st of 25. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions, comments?
No, just like to see local vendors being used. It's nice.
Okay. Then we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any questions, any comments on the motion? Then we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes. And now, next item is our comments from our executive director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll keep it short this evening. First of all, I'd like to thank Mark and Richard and Crystal for their presentations this evening. And I'd like to wish the Board of Directors and their families happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments from our attorney, Mr. Wren.
No comments tonight, I don't think.
Okay.
Can't think of any. Merry Christmas.
All right. Comments from board members, Mr. Wade.
I attended the holiday luncheon for the employees. I enjoyed it. It was great. There was a lot of talking and festive activities, and just good to hang out with everybody and discuss things and just enjoy it. Very appreciative of all of our staff, from administration, our management team, down to, like I said, the people in the field. That's the heartbeat what keeps us going. So Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everyone out there, and see everybody at the beginning of the year.
Thank you. Mr. McLean.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
All right. Mr. Karen.
Wanted to share a Merry Christmas as the rest of you have, and apologize I wasn't able to make the Christmas function. Had a strategic plan update for the county, so I was previously engaged. But it was a very good meeting, and appreciative of the closeout of the year. Thank you very much.
And Ms. Jordan.
I too would just like to thank Scott and Crystal, who worked on the holiday lunch. It was very festive. It was very engaging. It seems like everybody had a good time. And one thing I can say is, from the previous years into this year, more employees stayed around longer, connecting with each other. So I think that reflects very highly on how good the holiday luncheon was, and people just felt very relaxed. So just wanted to do a public thank you to everyone who coordinated that event, and then happy holidays, Merry Christmas to all.
Thank you. Ms. Kaczynski.
Thank you. The luncheon was wonderful, the food, the decorations, the little party. I didn't win bingo, but I tried. I was stealing cards from everybody trying to win bingo. But everybody seemed so happy, and the employees that thanked us, it meant so much. You need to let them all know that the thank yous were very much appreciated by me and by others. A lot of people just assume and don't say thank you, but
yeah,
they were great. And the work that they do, they earned every single penny of that luncheon and the bonus. And I want to thank them for a year of hard work, everybody. And I know that winter's coming, and these poor guys and girls are going to be out there in the cold, and we may not be with you physically, but once we find out about it, we're with you. And I'm proud to be on this board. I'm very proud, and the work that's been done. We've had a successful year, I think.
I agree.
Thank you. And that leaves me.
Nothing
I
else.
just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone, and Happy New Year. If I don't see you before then, we have a lot to be thankful for. We've got an excellent executive director that's put together a great team. We're moving forward. We're staying on top of things, not getting behind the curve, trying to catch up, and it's working well. And I really enjoyed the time spent with the employees of SWASA at the Christmas luncheon, and it was great. I always enjoy connecting with the employees, because I was an employee of a municipality for a good many years, and I know what it's like when you have the higher ups, so to speak, come in and speak. And I know they probably look at the board as higher ups, but I look at us as just one more part of the wheel. We're just one more component. We're no more important or less important than anyone else in this entire organization. And I'm thankful to be here and thankful for the year we've had. And with that, is there any other business to come before us? Is there any need for a closed session? Well, then I'll call for a motion to adjourn then.
Motion.
We have a motion. McLean, a second by Wade. All those in favor say bye.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.